Johnny Black is an award-winning photographer based in Portsmouth who's come into the studio today to talk to us about his work. Well, first of all, thank you for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. And I understand predominantly sort of landscapes that you do, but you touch on weddings and a few other things as well.
Yeah, and portraits, a few events, and I do a fair bit of charity work as well, so which is always interesting, so and emotional a lot of the time.
And I mean, which of the sort of the streams of different types of photography that you do you normally favour?
Landscape, I absolutely love, but I love shooting Portsmouth, although I do shoot all over the world, wherever I am. But I just think we have a plethora of interesting things to shoot in Portsmouth, and I haven't run out of them just yet. So.
And I believe we've actually got some images that we can show the audience at home, just as some of your photographs there. And I mean, what have been some of your favourite locations to shoot in?
The Warrior's always been a lucky one for me. Obviously, I've won a couple of gold medals, and the national award was of the Warrior. But along the seafront's always interesting, and we've got such good architecture in Portsmouth as well. So that's always an interesting one to shoot.
Excellent. And for some of those sort of keen amateur photographers at home, I mean, do you need the big, expensive kit to be able to take the sort of images?
Not at all. You can shoot with whatever you've got in your hand, and it's an old adage of you take the picture with whatever you've got. So I've taken pictures and people have said, oh, I love that, and it's taken with my phone. Wow. So it depends what's in your hand at the time to be able to capture that moment. So
would you say it's more about sort of the person and sort of the keen eye that they've got, more so than the equipment?
Certainly that, and you sort of train yourself a little bit to, see what's out there, and tend to, if you're just going for a walk, is to look behind you every now and again, because quite often there might be a sunset or a sunrise coming up, no matter which way. And a lot of people don't do that, but once you're into photography, they're the things that you do look for and start to sort of.
So would you say you never leave home without your camera now then?
It'd be a rare time that I did that. I didn't come into the studio armed with cameras, but I certainly have got them in my car.
And I mean, in your mind then, when you're looking at an image, do you look at just a landscape and automatically think of the framing and where you're going to be?
There'd be an element of composition on the picture, and then sometimes there'd be something that would just catch your eye, and you'll think, I need to capture that, and that's probably the moments when, a phone's a great one to have if you don't get the camera out of the bag and everything else. But it's a moment, and that's what you're looking for, really. It's that little thing. My partner, Martine, she always says to me, how do you see that? I was with you. How did you actually see that picture? And I'll be laying on the floor in a puddle or something like that, and you get that reflective shot, and it's just those moments. It's just seeing something that just catches your eye, and you think, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to shoot.
And I understand that you've been a photographer for quite some years now, but how have you found the change from sort of 35mm film over to digital?
I'd love to say I miss film, but I don't. There seems that you do a lot more editing because you're taking a lot more photographs. So that side of things, it's changed it a lot. But you tended to take a lot more time over your shot when it was back with film. And I guess you're looking for the shot. And I always think it's a great training to do film before you go mad with the digital, because you really do slow things down, and that does make you look at what you're shooting a lot more. Certainly with portrait, whereas now I can shoot 20, 30 shots in a few minutes. Back then you really would have to pose the person and get the lighting absolutely spot on. Whereas obviously now, post-processing we can deal with a lot more of that.
And I mean, that's often the criticism for a lot of photographers and for, should we say, wannabe photographers, that they think that, oh, it's okay, I can fix it in Photoshop later. But I mean, I've always been taught and always grown up with if you don't have the raw material to work with, you can fix it all you like, it's still not going to be what you wanted it to be.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. You try and do everything you can within the camera, but as with weddings, you don't get that opportunity a lot of the time, and it may be that you're just going to throw the camera at the subject and take that shot because something's happened. A child's just run into the aisle, or or they've pulled a funny face, or something, or they're tugging on the bride's dress. Those things you haven't got time to get your exposure bang on right and everything. So those you hope to God that once you're in Photoshop that you can pull something away from it and get the right photo from it. But every moment, if you can compose, if you've got the time, some of the great landscape photographers of the past, they would spend days capturing their shot, and we have them. We have some amazing photographers here in Portsmouth that do exactly that. We've got he goes under Andrew White. He's under long exposures, and he shoots some amazing light paintings, and he can't do that in a snap second.
No.
He has to spend a lot of time to get his shots. So, there's a little bit of everything on the long exposure shots when you're doing something, a minute of the waves to soften out all the waves or anything. You compose that shot, so they're not snapshots as such.
No. And do you have any top tips for any budding photographers out there looking to take it up themselves?
Get your horizon straight.
Yeah, the rule of thirds, it's there for a reason, guys. It's when you know how the rule of thirds works, that's when you can break it, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. It's a bugbear of every photographer, I think, if you don't have a level horizon.
See, I always say a good tripod helps with that as well.
It does, and you don't need a tripod. There's so many things that you can use. Lean up against a lamppost. I'm often seen hugging a lamppost sometimes just to hold it still and like just to get the camera where you want it. And if you can't get the exposure, and it literally is that. Put it wherever you can, balance it on something, take off a coat and get yourself comfortable into an area, and you will still get a shot, but that's if you haven't got a tripod with you, but most definitely.
Excellent. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure for me too.
Thank you.